I am poetry.
I am the living experience. I am the lifelong proof. Color me the poetry of nothing but the truth.
Color me a love child lost in the promised land. I am a poem for black hearts going to meet the man.
I am not to be sold nor bought. So color me a scholar in the school of thought. For I am poetry.
Color me the rose and the thorn. I am the timeless hopes of dreams, yet unborn. I am for my people a portrait of pride.
Welcome to
Color
another
me
exciting
the
edition of
Negro.
Color Me Poetry. I'm poet Danny Queen, and today I have a lovely young lady with us that I've known, let me put it that way, for a long time. From my old show at Bowie State University, and the person of Diane Wilbon Parkston. She's a poet, she's an artist, visual artist, and she does a whole lot with poetry. Welcome to Color Me Poetry, my sister.
Thank you, Danny. I'm so glad to be here today with you. It's been a long time.
I know you better act like you're glad to be here too.
I
And seriously, I'm glad to have you here. I hadn't seen you in quite a while, and I've known your work from the old show, and it's just beautiful. Talk about your poetry. How did the poetry speak to you, or you spoke to poetry? How did it come to
I think
you?
we spoke to each other.
Okay.
Yeah, and the one thing I want to say about poetry is the fact that it allows me to be free flowing in my writing. There's no rigidity. You know, I don't have to be rigid. I'm not writing in a box, but it gives me the ability to flow freely, and I love that. So,
Okay.
and it's a romantic language. I just love it.
So poetry really did speak to you,
It absolutely did.
and you spoke back.
Yes, I did, and here we are.
Now, for you, how does the writing process work for you?
Well, you know, it can be anything, honestly. Anything in nature, it can be anything.
In terms of subject matter?
In terms of subject matter. It can certainly be of things that are happening today. I am an emotional writer as well.
Oh, okay.
So it can be based on some things in my environment.
So why would you say that? I mean, things going on in your environment, political things, personal things?
It could be political. Certainly could be political.
When you think about who's in the White House, it would definitely be political and emotional.
Oh my goodness, that's something else. That's a
whole nother story.
It's a whole nother show. For
It is,
sure. But I think
We'll call that show Stop Lying.
But I think what is happening for me in my environment, I can look out of a window and birds and trees and beautiful flowers. They certainly invoke me to write.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I love everything.
So you do nature poetry as well?
I do.
Well, I never heard a nature piece from you.
Well, I have to make sure that I include one. I don't know if I'm going to do one today.
No,
but
we'll get to it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but I just
Now,
love to write.
Now, you have a piece that you're going to share?
Yes, I am.
And what is that entitled?
This one is called Shedding. It's called Shed. So you want me to start?
Yes, please do.
Okay.
And then when you finish, I want to know how did that piece come about?
Okay. I am shedding inside this poem. My skin is thick like rows of columns holding the quiet whispers of this poem. The lines in this poem become needles. I am the thread, stitching myself into your lost and into your found, into your pages. I need this poem to feel what I feel. I need this poem to examine what's real. I need it to understand what it means to be in my skin.
Wow.
I needed to know what it feels like to be lost from within. I needed to hold my hand and cradle this quiet. I needed to stop the hatred so there'll be no more riots.
Wow.
Leave your skin and replace it with paper and this poem. My scales are falling off. They represent something. They represent the racism I've sometimes had to swallow. They represent the emptiness that still feels hollow. I need this poem to feel what I feel. I need this poem to take a stand and to appeal. I needed to understand what I've been through. I needed to know my scales represent my truth. I needed to know that my blood has leaped inside this poem, that my tears stand on the collar of this poem, and sometimes bloom from nothing, even in the midst of this Herculean exchange, in the midst of this relentless pain and suffering. This poem, this needle, this thread of this collar of this poem is blooming inside me, and I inside it. We tilt to the beat of this poem into my exfoliated chest, into my burnt offerings of shedded scales, and into the quiet whispers of night. The thread unravels. The needles seem to have lost importance. Words wear away into your lost and into your found. I am free.
Shed. Wow, I'm glad you shared that one.
Yes, Shed.
Now, what's the story behind Shed?
Well, so much is going on.
Yeah,
And it
that's true.
also reminds me, even though, I certainly love my childhood and the places that I'm from and I visited, and I'm from Georgia.
Oh, you're from Georgia?
I am from Georgia.
What part?
I'm from Milledgeville, Georgia. It's pretty
Milledgeville?
much central Georgia.
Oh,
Yeah.
GA, okay.
Yeah, but I will say, as much as I love my home, that's where I really experienced a lot of racial tension. So a lot of that sometimes leap or kind of leak into my poetry.
Is that a poem of transformation?
I think it is. I
As such.
absolutely do. It's because it's freeing. My scales, everything that we've been through, certainly will free us.
So poetry helped you in that transformation?
It is. It's very therapeutic.
Wow, it certainly is. And when you think about poetry and what it is and what it does, and it means different things to different people.
Yes.
That's the beauty of it. People interpret things differently, and people interpret things a lot of times by their experience, by their personal experiences, what you've been through. And that kind of. And that's not to say that, and as a writer, that we have to experience every day, because nobody can experience everything. But the thing is, imagination also comes into play as well. As a writer.
Yeah, I think of us authors and poets as sponges, if you will, because we do take on the environment, the political problems, and we kind of knit that into our writing.
Art imitating life, or life imitating art, or either way.
Either way. Either way.
Well, I have a piece that I'd like to share, and it's simply entitled "Stop Lying," and I'd like to dedicate it to our illustrious president, President 45. It's simply entitled "Stop Lying." If you tell one lie, you got to tell two. Then before you know it, lying is second nature to you. When there's no foundation of truth on which to stand, living a lovable lie is like walking on quicksand. And there ain't no way naked truth can ever fly on the wings of a well-dressed lie. A lie told on the truth is not something you can defend, because truth crushed the earth will always come up again. So let the truth be your guide in your lust to tell a lie, and you will find that you can stop it if you try. For if you lie to yourself, you'll lie to any and everybody else. And there ain't no way naked truth can ever fly on the wings of a well-dressed lie. Because if you tell one lie, you got to tell two. Then before you know it, lying is second nature to you. Stop lying.
Powerful.
Trump.
I heard that at the end, right? Oh wow! That is
So I like to play with the language and do all kinds of things. Now that's a piece that was dedicated to him, but there's the pieces I wrote specifically. I do political stuff. I do all kinds of stuff.
I know, Danny. I love the way that your poetry has so much rhythm in it.
Thank
It
you.
really does.
Well, I try to keep it real,
Yes, you do.
So the piece, there's another piece you want to share?
Yeah, I'm a veteran. I don't know that many people.
I didn't know
that.
you was a veteran?
Yeah, I'm a veteran. So
Wow.
this is a very short piece, and it's,
Soldier of life.
Yes, and this is things that we don't really think about when it comes to when you give your life and you're really
Yes.
supporting your country. I don't know that we think about it in these terms, so I decided to do a very short poem in dedication. It's called "The Cost of Freedom."
Wow.
Dedication to fallen soldiers. The shadows of your wars hide in the trenches of your boots, and the mud of your eyes. You take them off, slip into the gun that carried you, aimed and fired. The sound of 21 fades over the noise of smoke, over the oath of service, over the last cadence, over the last song. Left, a red rose on the ground, each petal a body, a son, a daughter. America blooms in a vase of freedom, in the wave of a flag, decorated with tear-stained purple hearts, only to become widowed and free again.
Wow.
Yeah.
Where were you and what were you thinking?
Well, it was around, the 4th of July, and I think about all the times that, so many people have given their life so that we may have freedom,
Yes.
in America. And we send so many of these young people over, sometimes unprepared. And what happens is you're left at the graveside with a rose in exchange for freedom, and yet we go back and do it again. So, and I know
A rose and a flag?
Yeah,
Wow. You've been there.
been there.
How long were you there?
Well, I wasn't as long as most people, so I did a first term. My husband was in for 15 years, so
Wow.
yeah.
I know that must have been a heck of an experience to
It
rest
is.
it.
But you
Yeah.
know what? It grows you up. It really does.
Quickly.
Very quickly.
So what was it like the first time? When you were there, when you first went in?
It was very lonely. It was, and you know what? That's when I really started writing poetry. When I was
That's enough to make you start.
Yeah, my first assignment was in England,
Okay.
and of course, no family. The first
Were you
time,
culture shock?
Very much so.
Okay.
Very much so. But I enjoyed it. Of course, you become adaptive to your
Yeah.
environment.
You enjoyed the bloody thing.
I did. I did. I
The
did.
British.
I did. I love the double Dutch buses. And
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it was really cool.
Wow.
Yeah. So really good experience.
Now, is that a piece from the book? Or
No, this is a new piece.
Okay.
I have the Wisdom of Blue Apples is
Yeah, because you read a piece from the
Yeah,
book. Talk
yeah.
about the book.
Well, let me tell you, this is a mystical. I know the cover is very mystical. People look at this cover and say, "Wow, what is that?" But if you look at it, it just when you look at the raised roots, even though it looks desolate, right?
Yes.
It looks like there's no life
And
there.
give us the title again.
It's called The Wisdom of Blue Apples.
Okay. We'll get to that in a
Yes.
second.
But even when you look at the foreground, it looks as if there's no life there, right?
Yes.
But when you actually look beyond the roots, there's life in that thing. There's
Yeah, we
life
should see it
in
on the
tree.
screen now.
Yeah. You want me to pick?
No, we have it.
Okay.
And yeah, tell us. Go ahead.
And so, if you look into the light, it actually goes up. And so where there's light, there's wisdom, right? So it is this book and the cover and everything that's the contents of it is all of my experience, all of life experience.
Wow. Why blue apples?
I know. Everybody asks me about the blue apple. Blue is a color of loyalty. There's a color, this color really exemplifies wisdom also. I actually did some research on blue apples or the color blue.
Is there a spiritual sense there as well?
It is. It's calming.
Yeah, blue is very common.
Yes. And I think this is a place where I actually kind of define it in the book where you become bluest if
Wow.
you're working in your gift.
But why apple? It could be the blue pear, or blue orange, blue grapes.
You know what?
What's significant about the apple?
I'm very fond of apples, and there are
Okay.
a lot of idioms about apples. The
Apple a
don't-
day.
That's right. Apple don't fall far from the tree, right?
Yeah, no, that's true.
So it has a lot of idioms and a lot of old sayings in reference to
Right.
one apple doesn't spoil the whole barrel. So
Some of them do.
Some of them do.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I
The one in the
agree
White
with
House do.
Yes. So that's the reason why I titled it "The Wisdom of Blue Apples."
Wow, that's beautiful. Now, when did that come out?
This actually came out the end of 2016,
Oh, okay.
beginning of 2017.
No, what was it like putting this together?
This
book.
this was really a labor of love. I can tell you that.
How long? It took a while.
It did take a long
Wow.
time. It took really from the time that I wrote Review Thoughts, which is where you and I came back the second time,
Right.
and we interviewed. And in between that time, I had been writing Wildflowers in My Hair. Somehow that didn't go. And then I decided to do The Wisdom of Blue Apples. And what is really unique about the book, there are little nuggets of wisdom throughout the books. And I really like that because that's a little bit different than what you see.
Well, share another nugget with us.
With a poem or a nugget.
Either way, blue nugget.
You want a blue nugget.
Yes.
Okay, let's just do this one. It's
Okay.
called Wisdom of the Fruit. Water waits to cleanse our souls and hydrate our bodies. Streams, lakes, and rivers flow within us. My hope is that we cherish the gift of water. Air does not discriminate, does not hold itself back, does not see color. Take as much as you need. My prayer is that we appreciate the infinite gift of air. My hope is that we love and pray and help and give and forgive and listen as much as we can, more often than that, each day, every hour. It feeds our spirit.
Wow, how beautiful.
Yes.
Read. It's time to read the handwritings on the wall when one too many of us don't like to read at all. But the more you read, the more you know. And the more you learn, the more you grow. Read. In the school of life, the way to succeed is to realize that you are what you read. To read, write, and speak very well, nevertheless, are the seeds the secrets of success. The art of ignorance will always intercede on the behalf of those who will not read. Reading is insight to those who are blind, is food for thought to a hungry mind. Read. Some things can never take the place of the need for the information that comes from what we read. But the more you read, the more you grow. And the more you learn, the more you know. Read, read, read.
Yes, very important.
I'm always telling young people that.
I love
Reading. It may seem oversimplified, but it's very important.
that. It's absolutely important.
How important do you think reading is?
I think
For
so.
anybody, not just young people.
Well, I think it's very important. I think that, you find so much in a book. I think you find, you can imagine. It can even be something that spearheads you to do something, a movement,
Yes,
if you
reading.
will. Yeah, reading is so essential.
Now I want to go back and pick up the story behind the last piece you read.
Yes.
Yeah, what was the story behind that?
The wisdom of nuggets, I think that's too many of us take for granted. I think when you are in a place where perhaps I've been, in the hospital more times than I can count. And I think when you, let me just go back. My mother suffered with dementia for quite a number of years. My sister, my brother, and myself were certainly instrumental, and we worked together as a unit to make sure my mother was doing well. And that particular wisdom nugget really I think people should just look at life and see that the simple thing as breathing this clean air, some people don't have the ability
take it
to
for
do
granted.
that.
Yeah.
Take it a lot for granted.
Yeah.
The water, the fact that when I sit and look at my mom, my mother passed away in June.
Sorry to hear
And before that, I would sit with her, as would my sister and my brother. And you look at she was so beautiful in her simplicity.
Wow.
And to see all of that and to find that in a wisdom nugget, we have to start appreciating everything. Yeah.
But we have to know that, loved ones, we all, we come and we go.
Yes.
And the beautiful thing is that there is always hope.
Yes.
This too shall pass. Though my heart is broken and my mind is numb, I know any day now my change is going to come. Yesterday I was down and out and in the days, but I'm so glad I know trouble don't always come to last. Just when my lost faith came up found, the power of belief turned my world around. So with faith as my lifelong guide, I know in my soul that there is a brighter side. And because trouble don't always come to last, in my heart I know that this too shall pass. Wow.
Yes.
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 Life.
Yes.
I always say life is for living.
It is. is.
Life
It
is for living.
It is. It absolutely is. And, even between what you just read, about reading and This Too Shall Pass, it really is a wonderful segue into, though my mother's not here,
Yes.
oh my goodness, does she live inside me? Absolutely.
Wow.
And she inspired me to write my children's book as well.
Let's talk about it.
Yes, I'm so excited.
Now, this is your first children's book?
It is my first published children's book.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a holiday book. But I tell you, my mother is the inspiration behind Grandma Doodle Dances with Reindeer.
Oh, wow.
I'm so ecstatic about this little book because my mother, this is really true. My mother used to she would play with each of her grandchildren and say, "Can you hear the reindeer on the roof?" And I was like, Mom, she said, and then she would say, they said, "No, Grandma, I don't hear it." So she would go to the window and she'd say, "Well, they're right here. It's all of these white reindeer. My yard is lit up." And
she would make up these stories?
Yes,
when you guys were kids?
Yes, she would make up wonderful stories.
Wow.
And I told her, I said, one day I'm going to write that story. And, I think the energy of her leaving also propelled me to make sure that this book was done. This was my first children's book. I have others, but this was important because this one was inspired by my mommy.
That's beautiful,
Yeah,
sister. Man,
yeah.
when you think about, memories.
Memories is everything,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
Exactly. Now, there's another book that you have also that you bought with us.
Yes.
What's it entitled?
That's the one that I did with you, River Thoughts.
Oh, that's the first one.
That's the first one. So know I was going to bring that with me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Talk about that and how that happened for you.
The Review Thoughts, I guess it was, again, being in England, some of the poems that I had written.
Being a vessel, being
yes,
open.
being open. And, I always believe that everything that we do in life is connected to our purpose.
Now, is that looking back? Is that?
Yeah, it
rear
does
view?
look back.
Yeah.
It does look back. It looks back at the fact that, where you are, where you're going.
Where we were, when we were.
Yeah, and sometimes that certainly has a lot to do. A lot of people say, don't look back or don't look in the rearview mirror, but sometimes it really helps you to define your path for where you're going, right?
Now, you can't live there, but sometimes it's good to revisit it.
You can't
to
live
get your
there.
bearing as to where you're going.
Yeah.
But the problem is, when we look back too long and,
And stay there.
Yeah. I could look back at an old flame and then the flame ain't there no more. But it was nice when it was there.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. Yeah, but we do have to move on. But
Life. But it's a great title.
Yeah, Review
Yes.
Thoughts.
Share with us another piece from wherever you want to go.
Let's see.
You go to the apples?
Well, you know what? We're going to go to the apples because
Okay.
there's one piece I wanted to share with. This is I hope I can, if it gets too long, what you can do is say.
No,
Diane.
go ahead.
Okay, here it is. It's called Somewhere. I am trying to get to a place called somewhere. I've been trying to open doors, not cans of worms. Somehow, I opened Pandora's box just above a latched door of this open mind. I was able to examine a small thought on the left side of a decision tilted, a fork in the road, and discover it was the road less traveled. Even being here was someplace, but where? I still hadn't found any windows of opportunity where silver spoons spoon feed you. I uncovered the place I always seemed to be stuck in, between a rock and a hard place. It was easier to crawl out of the hole of the well of despair than to walk through the eye of a needle, which I convinced myself I could do because I wasn't rich from an American dream. But I had dreams. I hear the faint voice of Dr. Martin Luther King from my dream. I, too, have a dream, but the door of hope was closed shut and my mind completely empty. I'm trying to get to a place called somewhere. Even though I was free, I was locked up, trapped, and counting on a justice system that may not be just for me. I was searching for the light at the end of the tunnel where I had to first go through the back door to get through the fire, then through the storm to see through rose-colored glasses, enough to play in the fields where my grandmother's mother picked cotton and my grandfather's laid the path for trains with the sweat of hard labor. I can't afford to not know where I am. I am trying to get to a place called somewhere where my mother and grandmother are depending on me to climb out of the prison of a closed mind and create the foundation that harbors the porch of dreams with rooms that grow and extend far beyond the branches of this tree of life and push past corporate ladders where the sky does not limit the broadening of wider horizons or beyond the places that you think I will go. I am here. I am at my place. I am at the place called somewhere. The voice over my shoulder is God whispering the songs and poems that I will write one day from the heap of the skin. My body and bones is my somewhere, where the beat of drums and the strings of violins obey the dreams destined to explode in your ear. The sound of the potter's seed sprouts and dances in the moon of my arched bones and shed words like leaves to give you the life of my dreams.
How beautiful. Wow.
Thank you.
Oh, my. You're getting deep up in here, girl.
That's what we got to do. We got to step in with boots, right?
That's beautiful. Now, where can we get your book? Now, that was your reading from the Blue Apples?
Yes, this is on Amazon.com.
Okay. All your books?
All the books.
Okay.
Review Thoughts is actually out of print.
Okay.
But
You're
certainly,
going to reprint it?
I think I may reprint that one.
You better reprint it. That's beautiful.
And then, but right now, Grandma Doodles and the Wisdom of Blue Apples are certainly on Amazon.com.
So how can we, if people get in touch with you, maybe for do a reading or, you do readings?
I do readings.
Okay.
They can certainly get in touch with me at dcwp623@gmail.com.
Wow. So where do you go from here?
Oh, I'm going all the way up. Listen, I have so many children's book I want to write, and you know one thing you
got a series you talked about.
Yeah, I do. It's the Curly Blue and Dooley 2 series. But you asked me the first time what I was going to do and next, and I said children's book. I had no idea.
Oh, I said that years ago.
Yeah, over 20 years ago.
You got to tell them how long.
Oh yes, but I love, but I love it.
I'm just kidding with you. Yeah, it's been a while.
I love it because now I'm going to also say I see my books as children's animated movies.
And a movement. And it's truly poetry in motion. I'm calling me poetry. Yes, it's been beautiful having you here, sister. And it's been a long time.
It's been so long.
And I thank you for coming on, even at Bowie with the old Color Me poetry. And I don't know how much time we got, but the thing is, I thank you for coming. We will certainly purchase your books. And once again, tell people Amazon.com.
It's Amazon.com for both the Wisdom of Blue Apples and Grandma Dances with Grandma Doodle Dances with Reindeer.
And you're going to reprint the other one.
And Review Thoughts.
Yes. What year did it come out?
Review Thoughts?
Yes.
In 2000. I think it was 2000.
Wow, beautiful.
Yeah.
We've been talking with Diane Wilbon here on Color Me Poetry. She's an artist. She's a visual artist, poet, author, and just beautiful, beautiful sister. And we ask that you buy her books. And I thank you for coming. This is Color Me Poetry. This is Danny Queen. And until next time, Color Me Poetry. Be at peace.